everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing really well. So in today's video we will be talking about the books that I completed in the month of June. Yes, there are a lot of books that I completed in the month of June and I'm so excited. One of the main reasons being this is the highest number of books I've ever read in a month. I read 8 books and I kid you not, this is an achievement for myself. I say it because I am a reader but I also do a 9 to 5 job. So with that, balancing both the things out is a little difficult for me to manage, but I still did and I'm really happy. So now, not jinxing it further, let's just hop into the video. So the first book that I completed was The Oath of the Vayuputras. Actually, it was a continuation from the month of May and this was the last book of the Shiva trilogy, and I've already said a lot in my past videos about Shiva trilogy. So a lot of people said that this part of the trilogy does not stand up to the mark that the first 2 books have come up to, but I completely disagree with the fact because I felt this was the best book of the trilogy. To be very honest, there were a lot of wow moments, a lot of shocks and surprises that came with this book. If you have read the first 2 parts of the novel, you would know that Shiva is on his way to end the evil, to destroy the evil that is the Somras. He along with Vasudev go to meet the Vayuputras. A major secret is revealed, that is the Vayuputras, the head of the Vayuputras known as the Mitra, is maternal uncle of Shiva. The way he reveals the fact that he is a maternal uncle, he is a relative to Shiva, is such beautifully done that you are like, okay, you just keep on turning the pages and it is incredible the way you have been told the balance between good and evil. I don't know how it should be kept, but one of the most beautiful part of this book is when Sati dies. And I know, just hear me out what I'm trying to say. The way it is shown that Shiva loves Sati from the core of his heart and how he just does not moves away from Sati's body, how he thinks that he's lost himself, and all about like that moment. That those chapters are really beautifully written, because it's just easy to showcase visually, but when it is written in a book, it has to be on point that we are able to imagine the fact that the writer is trying to tell us. I was able to form an exact picture of what Amish Tripathi is trying to say in the book, and it is so beautifully written. To be very honest, this is one of my favorites trilogy series that I've ever read, and this was about The Oath of the Vayuputras. So let's talk about my second book. The second book that I finished was The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, and this is also yet another book that I've spoken about in my past videos. As you can see, the annotations that I've done in this book, there are certain remarks, certain notes that I've put into while reading this book, the thoughts that came into my mind while I was reading this book, because I was so much intrigued, so much involved in the life in her diary. I mean, I think it was because of the sneaky me who needs to know everything, whatever is written in somebody's personal life. I think I'm like that. But let's just come to the point. So one of the most important points that I noted was that you'll see a change in her writing as well. Like, she isn't a writer, she wrote this diary. You will see a wide difference, a varied difference in the 2 years that she's been writing her diary. You'll see a difference in her character and also through her writing as well, how she's a rebellious teenage who has a love-hate relationship with her mom and a very lovable relationship with her father. The transition is so smooth that you will also not realize it while you're reading the books, but it'll be after a certain point, her reaction, you have already imagined her reaction as a rebellious kid, but no, she doesn't. She becomes quiet, and then you're like, okay, wait a minute, she has changed, and this wasn't like abruptly, but she has smoothly transitioned to a more quiet, who was a very bubbly and a very happy and a very rebellious teenage. So yeah, this was my second book. Next book that I read was The Archer by Paulo Coelho. Now this book is a very quick and crisp read. The story of this book is so that there's a man named Tetsuya who is a very famous archer, and Tetsuya has retired from his archery and he is now working as a carpenter and is in hiding. Nobody knows where he is, but a man from another part of the world comes and finds him and challenges Tetsuya for a match. Now Tetsuya somehow is convinced. The second part of the book is that this book metaphorically explains life with the help of bow and arrow, and the book is completely of 130 pages, which is not a lot with such short paragraphs. So I think I completed it in 2 hours. That's pretty much about this book. The next book that I read was The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. Now this was a book which was kind of a reread from me, because I read this book way back and I did not remember anything from this book, and a lot of people were talking about this book on social media. This book isn't what that I expected. Despite reading now, I felt like why I had forgotten about this book is because it didn't excite me so much. I did keep a little distant from the books. Like I said, that I wasn't able to turn the pages on its own. Now let me talk about first what I did not like about the book. There were certain loose knots that were left, like there were repeating incident first of all, and this one incident that was told in chapter 2 or 3 was again repeated in chapter 11 or 12. Don't go by the annotation, but it's just that I felt that it left a loose knot, because I was not able to come back to that chapter until unless a little more description was shared about it, and that did irk me somehow, that I wasn't able to recall it. Secondly, the thing is that the relationship between two boys, their friendship, how it turns into silence, and how the privileged person out of the two discovers that a lie which he was living throughout his life. The book does transition very nicely, like building up the characterization, building up the description of the surrounding and everything, building up the story, and then transitioning into a very smooth, a very beautiful, like everything's turning out to be good, and then bam, suddenly a secret is revealed and everything goes haywire. Like, it was a slow read for me. I wasn't able to keep up with the pace, so I don't know if it was with only the book or was it me, but I kind of did not like it much. So what I liked about this book was the characterization, the emotional turmoil the character was going through. It is described very beautifully. I was able to get into the emotions of the character. That was something that actually hooked me, and I did keep on reading the book, and I cannot not like it. I mean, I expected more from this book, but yeah, that was all about The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. The next book that I read was Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I want to read more of Franz Kafka's writings, so I wanted to start with something very quick and very crisp thing that I could begin with. So I found out about Metamorphosis and I was like, okay, I'll give this a read. And now I know what people actually talk about his writings. I know I've read just one writing of his, but it is not an easy read. It is difficult. The language is a little difficult, but once you get the hang of it, this book is really great. Theme of the book is based on 3 points, that is alienation, delusionment, and existentialism. So the story is about a salesman, Gregor Samsa, who one day wakes up to find out that he's been metamorphosed into a bug, and how he's not able to move his legs. Then his family gets to know that, oh, he's metamorphosed into a bug, and his little sister helps him, like cleans his complete bedroom on a daily basis. How they are dealing with the daily life, with the financial crisis that the family now has, because Gregor was the sole earner of the family. Now this book deals with the fact that how modern life makes you alienated, and what are the cruelty of the authoritative power, like how Samsa describes his work life, like initially that he doesn't want to work in the office where he's working at. You might not be able to get the fact. The way I'm explaining might feel you that, oh my god, this is something very senseless that she's talking about. Like, how can a man get metamorphosed into a bug, and then talks about life and everything. But that is what Kafka's writing is all about. The term Kafkaesque is given to the writing style of Kafka is because of his senseless and sinister complexity. His writing style, it has very deep meaning into it, and I really liked reading it. It was a nice break for me. This was Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Now the next book that I read was Pride and Prejudice, and I thought this would be my last read of the month, because I started reading this book on 20th June if I'm not wrong, and then I thought that this would be the last book of mine, because it's a classic and I want to give it a time, because A lot of people have already read about it, and people were like, the only classic that people have read is Pride and Prejudice, and I, being an avid reader, have not read it yet. So I did wanted to read this book, and finally I did, and I'm glad that I did, because this is a masterpiece in itself. Everybody knows that I'm not saying nothing new about Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, this book is a very nice, lovely love story, classic, if I may say so. Her writing style is so beautiful. Okay, funny story, when I started reading this book, I somehow started reading it with my fake British accent. It is a story about Elizabeth Bennet and a man named Mr. Darcy. How Elizabeth does not like Mr. Darcy in her first meet, and how she misunderstands Mr. Darcy's comment that is mentioned in their first meeting, because she overhears a conversation of Mr. Darcy and the other man, and then forms an opinion, and then each time they meet accidentally, and never she has liked Mr. Darcy. My most favorite part of the book is when Mr. Darcy confesses his love for Elizabeth Bennet, how he proposes Bennet actually. That is the most beautiful part. Now, why is it so? Because what you expect from a romantic classic is that, you expect that once the man has fallen in love and he thinks about it, and then somehow certain situation forms, and then he reveals it to the girl. But no, here that doesn't happen. I'll just describe the way Mr. Darcy proposes, or confesses his love to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is ill, and she doesn't goes to one of the get-togethers that is happening outside. Mr. Darcy, when comes to know about it, he runs and comes to Elizabeth's home where she's living, and Elizabeth is expecting somebody else, but when she opens the door, it is Mr. Darcy. And Mr. Darcy, instead of having a short conversation, no, he just comes up and then he just says that, I love you and I would like to marry you. And I'm like, okay, that was pretty quick. I did not know about it. I'm saying this because I did not expect it. It was out of the blue that it came out, and in this way. Of course, I knew that it is a love story, and of course I knew that it was about Elizabeth and Darcy because of the synopsis that I read in the book. Really beautifully written. Also, there are irritating characters like Mr. Collins. He has long speeches and he explains everything, whether he's happy, whether he's sad, whether he's sorry, everything. He explains it in 2 or 3 pages of his speeches, and I'm like, please get away from all these things. But his character is very funny one later on, because when you come to know that Elizabeth is with Mr. Darcy and not Mr. Collins. So yeah, so that is what I loved about the book Pride and Prejudice, and my short mini Kisapita review. So the next book is a digital read. I did a digital read this month. I was not expecting myself to do so, because to be very honest, I do not own a Kindle. So I was thinking of whether I should invest in a Kindle or not, because I do not like reading my books online. I don't want to see a screen while reading. That just spoils my feeling, and to be very honest, smell of the book is really important for me. I just wanted to make sure that if I'm a Kindle kind of a person or not. So for that, I started with Ruskin Bond's The Short Stories of Train Journey. Of course, Ruskin Bond. He is one of my favorite writers. I love reading his short stories because those were introduced to me in my school days, and I loved reading them. There were a couple of short stories that I had read in my school days that were mentioned in this collection of short stories. One of them was The Night Train of Deoli, and the other book was Tiger in the Tunnel. And it was like kind of a nostalgia. I just imagined my teacher explaining each and every paragraph to us, and all those things. Also, I would like to tell that Ruskin Bond stories are very easy reads and very beautifully nostalgia that will give you about train journeys. So this short story collection was beautiful for me, was the best read. I used to read this when I used to go to bed, because I have this habit of taking my phone when I go to bed and then scrolling through Instagram. So I just wanted to avoid that. Would rather open my Kindle app and then read this short story. It's a beautiful collection of short stories and you must read. This is free on the Kindle app, so you can try it out for yourself. And yeah, I'm just giving this PDF Kindle thing a try before I jump into the conclusion of I should or I should not buy Kindle. So also, if you have any opinion of yours that why I should buy a Kindle or why I should not buy a Kindle, do let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts as well, and then make a decision about it. Yeah, I was really happy of the fact that I read more than 7 books and I was able to pick up the other books. So I was a little confused, and I did a little poll on my Instagram stories as well. So if you're not following me on Instagram, do follow me on Instagram. I'll mention my handle in the description box. So I mentioned this poll on Instagram saying which book should be my next read, because I was confused. I did not have any goal set for the 8th book. So Born a Crime by Trevor Noah won the poll by a huge number. I wanted to read The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi, but of course, since a lot of people had said Trevor Noah Born a Crime, so I had to read it. So I've just started reading it, and as you can see, there's a lot left, but I'm filming this video 3 days before the month when it will go live, so I know I will pretty much be able to complete this book. And I know that he's a very funny person, but this book, amazing. The way he started describing his relationship with his mom and how they used to run, and how there is nobody else who runs faster than his mom and himself, is really funny. How he describes the story of why his mom had thrown him out of a moving car, is really funny. How, I mean, it's very nicely told. Of course, he tells the nuances of being born as a crime, why the title of the book Born a Crime, which will be told to you in the second chapter itself. The title of the chapter is only Born a Crime. I know it will be a beautiful book and a beautiful journey for me. So yeah, this was my 8th book of the month of June, and with this my June wrap up has come to an end. I hope you all like this video. Yeah, we are a family of 350 plus subscribers. I am really happy, and I hope that in the month of July I'm able to cross the 500 mark, the small milestone that I have in my mind. And if I'm able to, I will really be happy. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to my channel. So I have a lot of things planned for the month of July, and I'm really excited for the content that is coming up. So I hope you like this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Until we meet, bye.